Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Anuta, the Crochet World, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment on my videos. And today we're going to do this beautiful pattern for a medium-sized bag. Here it is. It looks like this, and here I've used Herringbone single crochet stitch. Here it is. It looks like this, and I have attached this back strap as well. But if you don't want this back strap, you can simply avoid this back strap. And here it is. It looks like this. Here it is, and it opens up like this, and you have your little cute bag here. Now for this particular project, I have used my 100% cotton yarn, and for this one I've used 4 mm of the hook. And the size of this bag, this is the base. So here it is. You got a base here, and this is your bag, and this bag is about 13 centimeters or 5 inches long, and it is about 7 inches or 18 centimeters wide. Here it is. So these are the measurements, and you got this bottom as well. It is again 7 inches or 18 centimeters long, and it is about 2 inches or 5.5 or 5 centimeters, approximately 5 centimeters wide. Here it is. This is your base. So these are the measurements of this bag, and let's begin. So here it is. Have your yarn, and we will start with the slip knot. So just have your yarn and have a slip knot here, and now we will chain up 24 here, 2, 4. So here it is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 22, 23 and 24. So here it is. We got over this 24 chains, and now we will turn our work and we will go at the back of our chains. So here it is. This is the back part of our first chain, and this is the back part of our second chain. We will go to the second chain here, and we will insert our hook into the second chain, grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet here like this. And now here I'm gonna have 1 stitch marker. So here it is. Have your 1 stitch marker, and now we will have 1 single crochet into each stitch until the end of our chain. So we will have our 23 single crochets. So this is our first single crochet. Go to this next stitch, insert your hook, grab yarn and have 1 single crochet. Go to this next one, insert your hook, grab yarn and have 1 single crochet. Now keep on having 1 single crochet into each stitch, and by the end of this chain, our foundation chains, we're going to have our 23 single crochets, and I'm going to meet you at the end. And here it is. I got this 23 single crochets here, and now on our this 23rd single crochet, we will have 1 stitch marker. So I have this 1 stitch marker here on this here last stitch, last single crochet, and now into our this last chain we will add another 2 single crochets. So here it is. This is your 23rd single crochet, add another 2. So here it is. It's gonna be your 24 and your 25 single crochet. Here it is. And now on your this 25th single crochet we will have another stitch marker. So have 1 more single stitch marker on your this 25th single crochet, and now we will add 1 single crochet into each stitch into over this other side of our this chains. So here it is. We will work on this other side of the chains. So that's gonna be our first stitch, our first chain. Insert your hook here, grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet here. Go to this next chain, insert your hook, grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet here. Here it is. We will keep on having 1 single crochet on each stitch, and here we will add another 21 single crochets. So here it is. We got over this 2 single crochets here. Go to this next one, insert your hook, grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet. Keep on having 1 single crochet into each stitch, and here we will add another 21 single crochets up to here. So we will be here with our 21 single crochet. We will be here, and that's going to be our last chain. So I'll tell you what to do on your last chain. So keep on having 1 single crochet into each stitch until you're the second last chain, and here you're going to have your another 21 single crochets only on this side. If you will count all the way around, you're going to have 46 single crochets. So if you will count from here, from your this first stitch all the way around, you're going to have your 46 single crochets up to here, and I'm going to meet you here on my this second last chain. And here it is. I've added my another 21 single crochets here on my this second side of my this chains, and here it is. I got my this 46 single crochets in total all the way around. Now we will be here on our this last chain, and here we will add another 2 single crochets. So for that, I will just insert my hook into my this last chain, and we'll grab the yarn, and we'll have 1 single crochet here. And now here I will have my this 4th stitch marker. So here it is. Have your this 1 more stitch marker here, and on your this 47th single crochet, and add 1 more single crochet here. That's going to be your 48th single crochet. Here it is, and that's going to be the end of our round number 1. So in total we are going to have 48 single crochets, and here it is. Now this is our first stitch. Take out your stitch marker here, and now we will insert our hook into this first stitch. We will grab the yarn, and we will have a slip stitch here, chain 1, and insert your hook again into that same stitch. Here it is. Insert your hook and grab yarn and have 1 single crochet here, and now we will have 1 more single crochet into our this first stitch. Insert your hook and grab yarn and have 1 more single crochet here. So here we're going to have 2 single crochets into our first stitch. Have a slip stitch, chain 1, and then have another 2 single crochets into our this first stitch. And now we will have our stitch marker on our this second stitch. Remember, not on our this first stitch, but on our this second stitch. So here it is. Have your stitch marker on your this second stitch, and now we will have 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way until our this stitch, until our this 21st stitch. So here we will have another 21 single crochets, 1 single crochet into each stitch, and here you're going to have your 21st single crochet only on here. Remember, I'm not counting this 2 stitches. Just on this side, have 1 single crochet into each stitch, and you're going to have another 21 single crochets here, and I'm going to meet you here. So here it is. I will go to this first stitch, insert my hook, and we'll have 1 single crochet here. I will go to this next one, and we'll have 1 single crochet here. So here it is. Keep on having 1 single crochet for next 21 stitches, 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I'm going to meet you after my 21 single crochets. Here it is. And here it is. I got my this 21 single crochets here, and now we will be here on our this curve. So here, take out your this stitch marker, go to this first stitch, and have 2 single crochets here into this 1 stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 2. Have your stitch marker on your this first stitch. Here it is. After this 21 stitches, and now go to this next stitch and have 2 single crochets into this 1 stitch. So it's 1 and 2, and now take out your the stitch marker, and into this last stitch, third stitch on this curve, have 2 single crochets into this 1 stitch. Here it is. So in total you got 6 stitches on your this curve. Have your stitch marker on your this last stitch, on your the 6th stitch. So have your this stitch marker on your the 6th stitch and your this first stitch on this curve. So here it is. It looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now again, next 21 stitches we will have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So here it is. Go to this stitch, have 1 single crochet, go to this one, grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet. Keep on having 1 single crochet into each stitch for next 21 stitches, and I'm going to meet you after that. Here it is. And here it is. I added another 21 stitches on my this second side, and here it is. It looks like this, and now we will be here. So here, take out the stitch marker. We will again be on this curve, so have 2 single crochets here on this 1 stitch. So it's 1 and 2, and have your stitch marker on your this first stitch. So after this 21st stitch, go to this first stitch and have your the stitch marker here. We will go to this next stitch, and have 2 single crochets here. So here it is. It's 1 and 2, and that's gonna be the last stitch of our this round number 2. And if you will count all the way around, you're gonna have your 54 single crochets. And here it is. It looks like this. So if you will count from here, this is not your first stitch, this is your first stitch, this is your second stitch on your stitch marker. So count from this first stitch, and if you will count from here all the way around, you're going to have your 54 single crochets. 6 single crochets on this curve, 6 single crochets on this curve, and 21 single crochets on this side, and 21 single crochets on this side. Here it is. And now we will close over this round number 2. So for that, this is your first stitch. Now this is your slip stitch and chain one, so we will not count this two as our stitch. We will go to this first stitch. So this is our first stitch. We will go to this first stitch, insert your hook into this first stitch. Here it is. Grab a yarn and have one slip stitch here and have a chain one. Here it is. And now we will again go to this first stitch, and we will have 2 single crochets into this one stitch. So insert your hook here, grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet, insert your hook again and grab a yarn and have 1 more single crochet. So here it is. For round number 3, we got our 2 single crochets here, and now we will take out our stitch marker and we will go to this next stitch, and here we will have only 1 single crochet. Here it is. And now have your the stitch marker on your this third stitch. So here it is. On your this first stitch, have 2 single crochets, have slip stitch, chain 1 and 2 single crochets, and go to this next stitch and have 1 single crochet only and have a stitch marker. Now next 21 stitches, again we will have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So here it is. It's 1, 2, 3, and here it is. Got my this next 21 stitches, and I'm here. Now here we will take out our the stitch marker, and into this first stitch on this curve we will have 2 single crochets into this one stitch. So here it is. Have 2 single crochets here. This is your first single crochet. Have your stitch marker on your this first stitch and insert your hook again into that same stitch, into the same stitch, and have 1 more single crochet here. So here it is. Have 2 single crochets here into this one stitch. Go to this next stitch and have only 1 single crochet here. Go to this next stitch and have 2 single crochets into this one stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 2. Again, go to this next one and have only 1 single crochet here. And now go to this next stitch and have 2 single crochets into this one stitch. So it's 1 and 2. Take out your stitch marker, and into this last stitch of this curve we will have only 1 single crochet. So insert your hook, grab yarn and have 1 single crochet. Put your stitch marker back on. So here it is. If you will count, you're going to have 9 single crochets on this curve, and now for next 21 stitches have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So for that, it's 1, 2, 3, and here it is. I got my this next 21 stitches here, and now we will be here on our this curve, on our the second curve. So I'm just going to take out my this stitch marker here, and now I will go to this first stitch, and here again I'm going to have 2 single crochets into my this first stitch of this curve. So it's 1 and 2. Here it is. And now have your stitch marker on your this first stitch. So here it is. You got your 2 stitches here. So just have your stitch marker on your this first stitch. Go to this next one and have 1 single crochet here. Go to this next one and have 2 single crochets into this one stitch, 1 and 2, and go to this last stitch and have 1 single crochet only on this stitch. So here it is. This is the end of your round number 3, and it looks like this. Here it is. And if you will count here, you're going to have your 60 single crochets. So you're going to have 60 single crochets in total. You got 9 single crochets here on this curve and 9 single crochets here on this curve, and here you got 21 and 21 stitches. So here it is. This is the end of your round number 3. Now to finish up our round number 3, we will go to this first stitch. This is our first stitch. This is a slip stitch and a chain one, so we will not count this two as a stitch. We will go to this first stitch, insert your hook into this first stitch, grab a yarn and have 1 slip stitch, chain 1. Again, go to that same stitch, insert your hook, grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet here. And that's going to be our first single crochet of your round number 4. And now we will again go to that same stitch. We will insert our hook into the same stitch, grab a yarn and have one more single crochet. So here we will have 2 single crochets into our this first stitch. And now for our next 2 stitches, we will have only 1 single crochet into each stitch on this curve. So go to this next one, grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet. Go to this next one, insert your hook and grab a yarn and have 1 single crochet. And now have the stitch marker here. Now again, next 21 stitches, have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So here it is. It's 1, 2, 3, and here it is. Got my this 21 single crochets here. And now we will be here on our this curve. So here I'm gonna take out my this stitch marker, and here into my this first stitch I'm gonna have 2 single crochets into this one stitch. So it's 1 and 2. Have your stitch marker on your this first stitch. Go to this next one, and next 2 stitches we will have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So just go to this next one and have 1 single crochet. Go to this next one and have 1 single crochet. Here it is. Now again, next stitch we will have 2 single crochets into this next stitch, into one stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 2. Now go to this next 2 stitches and have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 1. Again, go to this next stitch, and here we're gonna have 2 single crochets into this one stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 2. And now this remaining 2 stitches we will have 1 single crochet into each stitch. I'm just gonna take out my stitch marker here and have 1 single crochet into each stitch here. So that's gonna be your 1 and 2. Here it is. Have the stitch marker back on, and now on this curve you're gonna have 12 single crochets. So here it is. You can have your 12 single crochets on your this curve. And now for next 21 stitches we're gonna have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So here it is. It's 1, 2 and 3, and I'm gonna meet you after my 21 stitches. And here it is. I got my this next 21 stitches here, and now we are here, and here I'm just going to take out my the stitch marker, and now into my this first stitch I will have 2 single crochets into this one stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 2. Have the stitch marker back on this first stitch. And now next 2 stitches we will have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 1. Again, into this next stitch we will have 2 single crochets into this one stitch. So it's 1 and 2. And again, last 2 stitches we will have 1 single crochet into each stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 1, and here it is. This is going to be the end of your round number 4, and your work looks like this. And if you will count here, you're going to have your 66 single crochets. So here it is. You got your the 66 single crochets all the way around. And now we will skip over this slip stitch and a chain one. So this is your slip stitch and a chain one. Go to this first stitch. So this is your first stitch. Remember, we got our first 4 stitches here, and insert your hook into this first stitch, grab a yarn and have 1 slip stitch here. And that's how we will finish our this round number 4 for our this base. And our base is ready, and it looks like this. Now if you want, you can take out your this stitch marker, so you don't need them. Here it is. And now we will start building the pattern for our this bag. So here it is. Here you got your this last slip stitch, have a chain 1, and now go again into that same stitch. So this is your same stitch where you have made your this slip stitch. Go to that same stitch, and we will go to this back loop of our this stitch. So here it is. We got over this slip stitch. We take both the loops here when we are doing this slip stitch. But now we will go into that same stitch, but we will take the back loop only. So insert your hook into this back loop of your the same stitch and of your this first stitch. Insert your hook here and grab yarn and have your 1 single crochet here, and that's going to be your first single crochet of your round number 1 for your this bag round. Here it is, bag pattern round. Here it is. So this is your stitch marker, have a stitch marker, and now go to this next one. We will insert our hook into the back loop of our this next stitch and grab yarn and have 1 single crochet. Go to this next stitch, insert your hook into the back loop of your this next stitch, grab yarn and have 1 single crochet. So now keep on having one single crochet on each stitch, and remember all of your stitches will be back loop only for this round, round number 1. And by the end of this round we will have our 66 single crochets, and all of our stitches will be back loop only stitches. So keep on having one single crochet into each stitch, back loop only, and I'm going to meet you at the end of this round, round number 1, with my 66 single crochets back loop only. And here it is. After my round number 1, I got my 66 single crochets all back loop only, and it looks like this. Now here we will go to this first stitch. Now this one is our slip stitch and our chain one, so we will skip over this next 2 stitches. Take out the stitch marker here and insert your hook into this first stitch. Here it is, and grab a yarn and have one slip stitch here. Here it is. It looks like this. And now here we will have a chain one, and now here we will start our pattern here. So we will start our herringbone stitch single crochet here. So for that, this is our first stitch. Have a chain one here. We got our slip stitch and a chain one here. And now insert your hook into this first stitch. So this is your first stitch. Insert your hook again into that same stitch and grab your yarn. Just level up your yarn a little bit. I'm just going to pull my yarn a little longer, not much, just a little bit. Here it is, because we're going to insert our hook into this strand of yarn. So here it is, just have a little longer yarn on this hook, and yarn over and pull your yarn through 2 loops, and this is your first single crochet. So that's going to be a regular single crochet. If you want, you can have a stitch marker here. That's completely optional. You can have a stitch marker. This is your first stitch. And now we will insert our hook into this strain of yarn. So this strain of yarn of this single crochet, insert your hook into the strain of yarn here like this. And now go to this next stitch and insert your hook into this next stitch and grab your yarn. Here it is, and you're going to have 3 loops on your hook. Now yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. This is your herringbone stitch. Here it is, and we will repeat our this stitch all the way around on our this work for our this round, round number 2. So here it is, we will again go to this last strain of yarn. Always go to this last strain of yarn, insert your hook into this last strain of yarn here, and go to this next stitch. So here it is, go to this next stitch. We are not gonna remove our hook, we will leave our hook like this, and insert your hook into this next stitch. And now yarn over and grab yarn. So you're gonna have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. Here it is. Again, this is your last stitch. Go to this last strain of yarn, this one, insert your hook into this stitch, into this strain of yarn. Here it is. And now go to this next stitch, insert your hook into this next stitch, grab your yarn, and you're going to have 3 loops in your hook. Now yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. And this is your herringbone stitch. So here it is, we will do it again. Go to this last strain of yarn here. This is your last work stitch. Go to this last strain of yarn, insert your hook, go to this next stitch, insert your hook into this next stitch and grab your yarn. Now yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. Now keep on having this stitch on each of your this stitches. You're going to have your herringbone stitch single crochets on each of your this stitch from your previous round, and by the end you're going to have your 66 single crochets. So starting from here, go all the way around and you're going to have your 66 single crochets on this stitch, because this is your slip stitch and a chain one. So we will skip over this next 2 stitches. So that's going to be your last stitch, and here you're going to have your 66th stitch, and that's going to be your last herringbone single crochet stitch. So again, this is your 3 strain of yarn. This is your last stitch. Insert your hook into this 3rd strain of yarn here and go to this next stitch, insert your hook, grab your yarn. You're going to have 3 loops, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. So keep on repeating this pattern all the way and have your the 66 stitches, and I'm going to meet you at the end of this round, round number 2. Here it is. It looks like this. And here it is. I got my this 65 herringbone single crochet stitches, and it looks like this. And now for my last stitch, I will insert my hook into this last strain of yarn. We'll go to this last stitch, insert my hook, and we'll grab the yarn. I'm going to have 3 loops, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops, and that's going to be my 66th stitch. Here it is. And now to make our the slip stitch, to finish up our this round, and for the slip stitch we will again go to this last strain of yarn. So insert your hook into this last strain of yarn here, take out this stitch marker and insert your hook into this first stitch. So again, this one is a slip stitch and a chain one. We will not count this two as our stitch. This is your first stitch. Insert your hook into this first stitch, grab your yarn, and now grab this yarn all the way to all of your loops. So you got your this two loops, just grab your yarn through both the loops. Here it is, and that's how we will make a slip stitch here, and that's how we will finish our this stitch, our this round number 2, and our this herringbone stitch. Here it is, it looks like this. And now chain 1, and for your round number 3 we will turn our work. So turn your work and you will be here on this back side. So here it is, this is your chain 1, and now to start our herringbone stitch we will go at the back. So here for your this first stitch, have your this chain 1, turn your work and have your yarn like this. Your yarn should be in front of you, your hook should be at the back here, and just turn your work here and insert your hook into this stitch. Now this is your slip stitch, always remember this is your slip stitch, and we will work on this slip stitch. So insert your hook into this slip stitch, insert your hook from here. So this is your stitch, you can see this stitch. So we will take this both the loops, and we will take this third loop as well, this one as well. So we will have all 3 loops into over this stitch. So insert your hook here, and take out your this hook from the back here like this. Here it is. So you got your this 2 loops and your this third string of yarn at the bottom. Here it is. And now grab your yarn and pull your yarn at the back. You're gonna have 2 loops here. Now yarn over and pull your yarn through 2 loops, and that's going to be your first single crochet of your round number 3. And if you want, you can have a stitch marker here. So that's going to be your first stitch, that's going to be your single crochet, but it is just that we had our single crochet from the back. So here it is, and now we will start making our herringbone stitch. So here again we will go to this, sorry about this one, I'm just going to take out this one right now. We will go to this string of yarn, this one. So this is your second string of yarn. Here it is. If you will see it from here, we will go to this string of yarn. This is your second string of yarn. So here it is. My work is like this, and I will turn my work and I will go to the second string of yarn here and insert your hook into the second string of yarn. Here it is. And now again insert your hook into this next stitch. So take your this next stitch, insert your hook like this, and again take this third strap as well. So here it is, you're going to have 3 loops. So this is 1, 2, and you're this third loop here at the bottom. Here it is, and insert your hook like this. Now yarn over and pull your yarn. Here it is, you're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. Here it is, and your work will look like this. Again, go to this last string of yarn from your hook. So this one, your third string of yarn, insert your hook into this third string of yarn, go to this next stitch. Now again we will take both the loops and plus this string of yarn at the bottom. So insert your hook here, insert your hook like this, take all 3 loops here, and now yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops, and we will repeat our this pattern. Now this is our third stitch. So here it is, we're just going to have our stitch marker on our this first stitch. So that's our first stitch. We got 3 stitches here, 1, 2, and 3. And now again we will go to this string of yarn here at the back. On this last string of yarn, this one, we will go to this string of yarn, insert your hook into this string of yarn here like this, go from the back and insert your hook into this next stitch, taking this 1 string of yarn at the bottom as well. So here you're going to have 3 loops, insert your hook like this, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. Again, insert your hook into this third string of yarn, go to this next stitch, insert your hook into this all 3 loops, and grab your yarn. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. And here it is. If you will turn your work, you are forming this herringbone stitch, and it looks like this here. Now keep on repeating this pattern all the way on your this round number 3, and you're going to have your 66 stitches, and I'm going to meet you at the end. So keep on repeating your pattern here for this round, round number 3, and I'm going to meet you after my round number 3 with my 66 herringbone single crochet stitches. Here it is. Just like this. And here it is. I'm on my this 66th. This is my 65th stitch, and I'm gonna have my last stitch. So here it is. I'm just gonna insert my hook into my this last strain of yarn, and we'll go to this next stitch, and we'll insert my hook into my this next stitch, and we'll grab the yarn. I'm gonna have 3 loops, yarn over and pull yarn through all 3 loops, and this is your 66th stitch. Here it is. And now we will skip over this last stitch, because remember we started our work with our slip stitch. So here it is. This is our last stitch. That's going to count as our slip stitch. So here it is. We will leave over this stitch. We will not work on this stitch. And here it is. This is your 66th stitch. Here it is. If you want to see, your work will look like this. Here. And now to close over this round, we will again insert our hook into this last stitch. Here it is. Insert your hook into this last stitch, and have it take out the stitch marker and insert your hook into this last stitch. Here it is, just like this, just as normal, and grab a yarn and pull yarn through all of your loops. And here it is. That's how we will finish over this round, round number 3, and it looks like this. Just a minute. Here. So it looks like this, and here it is. Your round number 2 and your round number 3 will make herringbone stitch. Here. Nice, easy and simple. Now, repeat your round number 2 and round number 3 until your round number 17, 1, 7. So I'm going to go up to my round number 17, 1, 7, repeating my round number 2 and 3, and I'm going to meet you after my round number 17, 1, 7. Here it is. Keep on repeating your round number or round number 2 and 3. So here it is again. For your next round, have a chain 1, turn your work, and go to this first stitch. This is your first stitch. Insert your hook into this first stitch. Remember, this time you don't need to take three loops. You can go as normal. You can go into this stitch. Here it is, just like this, just as normal, and grab yarn and have 1 single crochet here. Go to this last string of yarn. Go to this next one. Insert your hook into this next stitch and grab a yarn and have 1 stitch, and keep on repeating your row number 2 here, just as simple, and go up to your row number or round number 17, and I'm going to meet you after my round number 17. It looks like this. If you want, you can have a stitch marker here on your this first stitch. So that's going to be your first stitch. Have a stitch marker on your this first stitch, and I'm going to meet you after that. And here it is. After my round number 17, it looks like this. Here it is. And now I will cut my yarn. So here it is. I got my this last stitch here. I'm just going to have 1 chain 1 here just to secure my yarn. And here I will cut my yarn and will secure my this last stitch. Now if you want, you can hide your this end in. And now we will start making our cover. We will start making our flip cover on this one. So for that, have your yarn and have a slip knot and chain up 9. So here it is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Chain up 9, and now we will turn our work and we will go to this first stitch here. Now here we will directly start making our herringbone stitch. So for that, skip your this first stitch, go to the second stitch, second chain, insert your hook, grab a yarn, and you're gonna have 1 single crochet, a regular single crochet. So just level up your yarn in here and have 1 single crochet here like this. And now insert your hook into this second string of yarn and go to this next one, insert your hook here, grab a yarn and have your herringbone stitch here. So here it is. That's your first stitch. Again, go to this next one, insert your hook into this next chain and grab a yarn and have your second stitch. Sorry, that's going to be a third stitch. So keep on having your herringbone stitches on this chains all the way until the end of your chains, and by the end you're going to have your 8 stitches. So here it is. I'm just going to have my this herringbone stitches here directly on my this chains. this. I got my this 7 stitches here, and now I am here on my this last chain. Now here into my this last chain, I'm gonna add 3 stitches, and all 3 stitches will be my herringbone stitches. So for that, after you're the 7 stitches, insert your hook into this last string of yarn, go to this last chain, insert your hook, grab a yarn, and yarn over and pull a yarn through all 3 loops. Here into the same chain we will have another 2 stitches, but here we will have our stitch marker. So just have your stitch marker here on your this 8th stitch. Again we will insert our hook into our this 3rd string of yarn. Here it is. We will again insert our hook into our this last same chain. Here it is, and grab yarn, yarn over ends, pull a yarn through all 3 loops. Again we will go to this last string of yarn here, and again insert your hook into this last chain and grab a yarn, yarn over ends, pull a yarn through all 3 loops. And here it is. You add 3 stitches into this last chain. So after the 7 stitches, have another 3 stitches here. In total you're gonna have 10 stitches here. And now insert your hook into this last string of yarn here, and now we will go to this next stitch, this one, our chain. So we will start working on the second side of our chain. Here it is. Insert your hook into this first chain, grab yarn, and have 1 stitch here. Now this one is your 3rd stitch. We will have a stitch marker here. Sorry, I forgot to tell you this. Have a stitch marker here. So here it is. On your this 8th stitch, have a stitch marker, and on your this 10th stitch, have a stitch marker. And now here, next 7 stitches, we will have our 1 stitch into each chain. So this is your first stitch. Insert your hook into this last string of yarn, go to this next one, insert your hook, grab a yarn, and have your second herringbone single crochet. Insert your hook into this next stitch, into this last string of yarn, go to this next stitch, insert your hook, grab a yarn, yarn over ends, pull your yarn through all 3 loops. And now keep on having your stitches, and we will have 7 stitches here. Here it is. Here it is. We got 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to have my last stitch, my 7th stitch here. Here it is. It looks like this. And now we will turn our work. So for that, after the 7th stitch, we'll start having our second row or second round. So for that, have a chain 1 and turn your work. Here it is. Now you are at the back of this work, and now again we will go at the back. This is your chain 1, this is your first stitch. We will insert our hook into this stitch from the back. Here it is. Again we will take over this 3rd string of yarn as well. So 3 loops, 1, 2, and 3 loops, and grab a yarn, level up your yarn, and yarn over and pull your yarn through 2 loops, and this is your first stitch. Again go to this next your last string of yarn from the back, insert your hook into this next stitch, and grab a yarn. You're gonna have 3 loops, yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. Here it is. That's your second stitch, and we will have 7 stitches here. So here it is. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So here it is. We got our 7 stitches here. It looks like this from the front, and now we are here. So here just take out here the stitch marker, and on this curve we will have 2 stitches into each stitch. Because we have our 3 stitches, we're going to need 6 stitches here. So for that, again, just go at the back, insert your hook into this last string of yarn here, and go to this next stitch, insert your hook like this, grab a yarn, yarn over and pull yarn through 3 loops, insert your hook again into that last string of yarn, and insert your hook again into that same stitch and grab your yarn and have one herringbone stitch. Now on your this first stitch, after the 7 stitches on your this first stitch, have your the stitch marker, and again we will be here on the second stitch, and again on the second stitch we will have 2 stitches here. So here it is, insert your hook into the last strain of yarn, go to this next stitch, insert your hook here. Remember, we are taking all of this 3 loops, so your third loop is here like this. Now grab your yarn, and again here we're going to have two stitches. So here it is, that's your first stitch, yarn over, and again insert your hook into that same stitch and grab your yarn. Here it is, and now yarn over and pull your yarn through 3 loops. Again go to that same stitch, sorry, your last strain of yarn, and we will go to this next stitch. So here take out your the stitch marker, and again we will have 2 stitches here. So for that, insert your hook from the back here like this and grab your yarn. You're gonna have 3 loops on your hook. Now yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. Here it is. Again we will go to this last strain of yarn here, insert your hook, again go to that same stitch and grab your yarn and have your second stitch here and have a stitch marker here. So here you got 6 stitches on your this curve, and now next 7 stitches we will have 1 herringbone stitch on each stitch. So keep on having 1 stitch, 1 herringbone single crochet stitch on your each stitch from your previous round, and you're going to have another 7 stitches here, and I'm going to meet you after that. And here it is, got my this 6 stitches, and that's going to be my last 7th stitch. It is. And pull your yarn through all 3 loops, and here it is, it looks like this after your round number 2. Now for your round number 3, chain 1, turn your work, and again first 7 stitches we will have our regular stitches here. So for that, insert your hook into this first stitch, grab your yarn and have 1 single crochet, insert your hook into the second strain of yarn, go to this next stitch, insert your hook, grab yarn and have 1 regular herringbone stitch, and do it for first 7 stitches. Here it is, we got over this first 7 stitches, and now we will be here on this curve, and now here we will increase our stitches. So for that I will just take out my this stitch marker, and here we got 6 stitches. Now we will add another 3 stitches, so we will have our 9 stitches here. So for that, just go to this first stitch, insert your hook into this first stitch, sorry about this, here like this, and have your 1 herringbone stitch. You can have a stitch marker back on, that's going to be your first stitch of your this curve, and again we will go into that same stitch. So insert your hook into this third strain of yarn, into this same stitch, and grab yarn. You're going to have 3 loops, yarn over and pull yarn through all 3 loops. Now into this next stitch we will have only 1 stitch. So here it is, insert your hook, go to this next stitch, grab yarn and have only 1 stitch here. Again into this next stitch we will have 2 stitches together. So here it is, go to this next one and have 2 stitches here, and now go to this next one and have only 1 stitch here. Now again into this next stitch we will have 2 stitches together into this 1 stitch. So that's 1 and 2, and into this last stitch have only 1 stitch here. Here it is, have your the stitch marker back on your this 9th stitch. So if you will count here, you're going to have your 9 stitches. It's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9 stitches, and now remaining 7 stitches, just do 1 stitch on each stitch, and I'm going to meet you at the end. So here it is, after our round number 3 it looks like this. Now for your round number 4, chain 1, turn your work, and first 7 stitches we will repeat our stitches here, 1 stitch on each stitch, and here it is, we got over this first 7 stitches here, And now we are here on this curve. So here it is. I'm just going to take out my this stitch marker, and again we will add another 3 stitches here. So we already have 9 stitches on over this curve. We're going to have 12 stitches here. So for that we will go to this first stitch. This is your first stitch, and we will have 2 stitches here into over this first stitch. So insert your hook in here and have 2 stitches into your this first stitch. So that's your first, and that's going to be your second stitch. Here it is. You can have a stitch marker on your this first stitch. So first 7 stitches, and then have your stitch marker on your this 8th stitch. You already got 2 stitches here. And now for next 2 stitches we will have 1 stitch only into our this each stitch. So go to this last strain of yarn, go to this next stitch and have only 1 stitch here. So it's 1, and for next stitch as well you're gonna have only 1 stitch. And now for next stitch we will have 2 stitches into over this 1 stitch. Here it is. Go to this next one and have 2 stitches here. So it's 1 and 2. And now next 2 stitches we will have 1 stitch only into each stitch. That's 1 and 2. Again into this next stitch we will have 2 stitches. It's 1 and that's going to be your second stitch. And now for remaining 2 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So here it is. 1 and 2. Here it is. You can have a stitch marker back on. And now for remaining 7 stitches, just keep on doing your pattern, and I'm going to meet you after that 1 stitch on each stitch from your previous round. And here it is. Got my this last 7 stitches as well for my this round, round number 4. And now for your round number 5, chain 1, turn your work, and again for first 7 stitches we will repeat our pattern. So I have 1 stitch on each stitch, and I'm going to meet you after my first 7 stitches. So here it is. I've repeated my pattern for first 7 stitches, and we will be here on over this curve, and here we will again increase another 3 stitches. So we already got 12 stitches here. We will have 15 stitches here. So for that, just go to this first stitch, and here for first 2 stitches we will have 1 stitch on each stitch. So here it is. That's your first stitch. You can have a stitch marker on top of it, and go to this next stitch and have your 1 stitch here. Now into your this third stitch we will add 2 stitches. So here it is. Have 2 stitches into this 1 stitch into this third stitch. So that's your 1 and 2. And now into this next stitch have only 1 stitch. Here it is. And you got 5 stitches here, and repeat exactly this pattern for next 2 times. So here it is. You got your this 5 stitches here, and we will have another 5 stitches and another 5 stitches here. So for that, insert your hook, and first 2 stitches have 1 stitch on each stitch. So here it is. And now into this third stitch have 2 stitches into this third 1 stitch, and into this last stitch have only 1 stitch on your this 1 stitch. Again we will repeat the pattern for the third time, and for first 2 stitches we will have 1 stitch on each stitch. So that's 1 and 2, and again into this third stitch we will have 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 2, and now into this last stitch we will have only 1 stitch. have the stitch marker back on, and now for remaining 7 stitches, have 1 stitch on each stitch, and I'm going to meet you after that. And here it is. After round number 5, it looks like this. And now for round number 6, again, chain 1, turn your work, and first 7 stitches, just repeat your pattern, and I'm going to meet you after that. Here it is. After my 7 stitches, it looks like this. And now again, we will increase our another 3 stitches on our this curve. So for that, I will just take out my this stitch marker, and here for first 2 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So here it is. Just go to this first stitch and have only 1 stitch here, and have a stitch marker here. That's going to be the first stitch. Now go to this next stitch, this one, and have only 1 stitch here. Now into this next stitch, your third stitch, we will have 2 stitches into this 1 stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 2, and now for next 2 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch. Here it is, and you got your this 6 stitches here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now repeat exactly the same pattern for next 2 times. So here it is. Again, for this next 2 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch. Into this third stitch, have 2 stitches into this 1 stitch, and again into next 2 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch. And after that, again, next 2 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch. Into this third stitch, have your 2 stitches into this 1 stitch, and then remaining 2 stitches, have only 1 stitch into each stitch, and then have another 7 stitches, 1 stitch on your this side, on your this each stitch. And I'm going to meet you at the end of this round, round number 6. And remember, on this curve you're going to have your 18 stitches, and I'm going to meet you after my round number 6. And here it is. After my round number 6, it looks like this. And now for your round number 7, again, chain 1, turn your work, and we will repeat our pattern for our first 7 stitches, and I'm going to meet you after my 7 stitches. And here it is. I'm here, and now we will take out our this stitch marker, and we will be here on our this first stitch on our this curve. And again, we got our 18 stitches here, so we're going to increase our next 3 stitches. So we're going to have 21 stitches into this curve. So for that, first 5 stitches we will have 1 single crochet, 1 herringbone single crochet on each stitch. So for that, just go to this first stitch and have your 1 stitch here. Have the stitch marker back on, and now keep on having 1 stitch on each stitch for first 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now into the 6th stitch, have 2 stitches into this 1 stitch. And now keep on repeating this pattern on next 3 times. So again, next 5 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into the 6th stitch, have 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. And again, next 5 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this last stitch, have 2 stitches into this 1 stitch, and have another 7 stitches here, 1 stitch on each stitch. And I'm going to meet you at the end of this round, round number 7. And remember, you're going to have your 21 stitches on your this curve, 7 stitches here and 7 stitches here, and I'm going to meet you after that. And here it is. After our round number 7, it looks like this. And again, for round number 8, chain 1, turn your work, and first 7 stitches we are going to have our repeat pattern. So just repeat your pattern for next 7 stitches. Here it is. We are here, and now I'm just going to take out my this stitch marker. We are working on our round number 8 here, and now for first 3 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So for that, insert your hook into this next stitch, so that's 1, and have stitch marker here. 2 and 3. So here it is. First 3 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch, and now into this 4th stitch we will have 2 stitches. So here it is. That's 1 and 2. And now again, next 3 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So here it is. It's 1, 2 and 3. Here it is. And now we will repeat our this pattern for next 2 times. So again, next 3 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this 4th stitch have 2 stitches into this 4th stitch, and then again next 3 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch, and that's going to be another 8 stitches. And then again next 3 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch, into this 4th stitch have 2 stitches into each that 1 stitch, and now remaining 3 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch, and that's going to be another 8 stitches. So in total you're going to have your 24 stitches here on your this round number 8, and then you're going to have your 7 stitches here, 1 stitch into each stitch, and I'm going to meet you at the end. And here this, after my round number 8 it looks like this. And now for my round number 9, I will again chain 1, will turn my work, and first 7 stitches I will repeat my pattern. So just have 1 stitch into each stitch, and here it is. Got my this first 7 stitches here, and now for this curve we will add another 3 stitches here. So for that we already have here 24 stitches. We're going to add another 3 stitches, so that's going to be your 27 stitches. So for that, here it is. Take out your the stitch marker, and here first 2 stitches we are going to have 1 stitch into each stitch. So here it is. Have your 1 stitch here, have your stitch marker, go to this next one and have 1 stitch here. And now into this 3rd stitch we will have 2 stitches into this 1 stitch. So it's 1 and 2. And now next 5 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So here it is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Here it is. You got 9 stitches here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. You got 9 stitches here. Now repeat exactly the same for next 2 times. So again, first 2 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this 3rd stitch have 2 stitches into that 1 stitch, and then next 5 stitches 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Next 5 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch. Again, next 2 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this 3rd stitch have 2 stitches together, and then remaining 5 stitches 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 have 1 stitch into each stitch, and that's how we're going to repeat our pattern. And we will have 27 stitches here, and then have another 7 stitches here on this side, and I'm going to meet you at the end. And here it is. After my round number 9 it looks like this. And now for your round number 10, again chain 1, turn your work, and have your first 7 stitches. Repeat your pattern here, and I'm going to meet you after my first 7 stitches. Here it is. For 7 stitches I've repeated my pattern, and now here we already have 27 stitches. Now again we will increase our next 3 stitches, so we're going to have 30 stitches here, and for that first 8 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So for that, just go to this first stitch and insert your hook and have your 1 stitch here. Now here first 8 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch, so that's going to be our first stitch, So here it is. We got our 8 stitches. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now into this 9th stitch, we will have 2 stitches together into this 1 stitch. 1 and 2 here. Now repeat exactly the same for next 2 times. So again, for next 8 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this 9th stitch have 2 stitches together into that 1 stitch, and then again next 8 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this last stitch, 9th stitch, have 2 stitches into this 1 stitch, and then remaining 7 stitches have 1 stitch into each stitch. And I'm going to meet you at the end. And remember, on this curve you're going to have your 30 stitches, 30. And here it is. After my round number 10, it looks like this. And now for your round number 11, chain 1, turn your work, and for first 7 stitches, just repeat your pattern, and I'm going to meet you after my first 7 stitches. So here it is. Got my this first 7 stitches, and now for this we already have our 30 stitches here for our round number 10. Now we are working on round number 11, and we are going to add another 3 stitches here, so we're going to have 33 stitches here. So for that, just take out the stitch marker, and for first 9 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So here it is. Just have your this first stitch here, have your the stitch marker back on, and first 9 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So it's 1, here it is. And now into this 10th stitch, have 2 stitches into your this 1 stitch. So that's going to be your 10th and your 11th stitch. Here it is. And now repeat exactly the same pattern for next 2 times. So again, for next 9 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this 10th stitch have 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. Again, next 9 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this last stitch, your 10th stitch, have 2 stitches into that 1 stitch, and then remaining 7 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. And I'm going to meet you at the end. And here it is. After my round number 11, it looks like this. And now we will do our round number 12. That's going to be our last round. Just have chain 1 here, turn your work, and again for first 7 stitches we will repeat our pattern here. So, and here it is. We are here, and I got my this first 7 stitches, and now we will be here on our this curve. Now here we already have 33 stitches from our round number 11. Now for our round number 12, we will add another 3 stitches, so we're going to have 36 stitches here. And for that, first 10 stitches we will have 1 stitch into each stitch. So here it is. Just insert your hook and have your 1 stitch here, have your stitch marker back on. So first 10 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch. So here it is. First 10 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now into this 11th stitch, we will have 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. So here it is. It's 1 and 2. Now keep on repeating this pattern all the way until you're this stitch marker. So you're going to add another 2 stitches here. You're going to repeat your pattern, this pattern, for next 2 times. So again, next 10 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this 11th stitch have 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. Again, next 10 stitches, have 1 stitch into each stitch, and into this 11th stitch, into this last stitch, have 2 stitches into this 1 stitch. And in total you're going to have your 36 stitches here on this curve, and then you will have remaining 7 stitches here. So have 1 stitch into each stitch, and I'm going to meet you at the end here. And here it is. I'm here after my round number 12, and now we are here. So here we will have a chain 1, and we will now start working on this edge of our this flap. So for that, have a chain 1, and we will have 1 single crochet on each row. So here it is. This is your first row. Just insert your hook into this first row like this, grab yarn and have 1 single crochet. Go to this next row. Now this is your next row. Insert your hook, grab yarn and have 1 single crochet. Go to this next one and have 1 single crochet. Now remember, there is no particular stitch here on this side, so you will have to have your idea that where to insert your hook, but we will have 1 single crochet on each row. So here it is. We will have our first stitch on this first row, second stitch on this second row, third stitch on this third row, fourth stitch on this fourth row, and we will go onwards. And here this is our chain. So here we will have 12 single crochets, and on this side we will have 12 single crochets. So in total we will have 24 single crochets. So here it is. This is our first stitch. 1 2 3. That's going to be our 4. Here it is. I got my this 12 single crochets on this side, and now I will have another 12 single crochets on this other side. And here it is. Got my this 12 single crochets here. It looks like this. And now here I'm gonna insert my hook into my this first stitch, just like this, and we'll have a slip stitch here just to finish up my this round. So I'm gonna have my 25 stitches here. And now we will cut our yarn, but remember to have a longer strain because we're gonna attach our this flap with our bag. So for that, just have a longer strain, cut a longer strain here, and we will just cut our yarn here, secure this last stitch. So here it is. Now we will start attaching our this flap with our this bag, and for that just have this 2 stitch markers. Now what I have done here is I went to this my bottom line, my this foundation chains, and I've taken an idea from the foundation chains and just fold your this bag like this and have an idea and have your this 2 stitches here. So you should have your this 2 stitches at the corners. Here it is. Now you might well have 33 to 34 stitches in between. So this is my 31 stitch number 31, and this is my stitch number 34. So you might well have 33 or 34 number of stitches because we are not working on this stitches, we are working on this corner stitches here. So have your this exact corner stitches here, and you're gonna have uneven numbers of stitches here because here you got your this 24 or 25 stitches, you got your 24 stitches and then 1 slip stitch, and here you got your 33 to 34 stitches. So here it is, you got uneven numbers on both the sides. So here just have a needle. It's gonna have a needle. So here just have an idea, have your this corner stitches, and I'm just gonna take out my this stitch marker from here. That's gonna be my first stitch. So this is my first stitch. I will take both the loops here and I will simply start attaching my this 2 parts together. So here it is. Just have your needle and now attach. Now while attaching, just remember to have your this flip on this wrong side because we are gonna work like this. So here it is, we are going to attach our work here and we are working at the back of this bag. Here it is. So now just attach your this 2 parts here. So here it is, just attach your this work like this. So here it is, this is my first stitch. I have inserted my needle into my this first stitch. This is my slip stitch. So I'm going to take both the loops of my this slip stitch and I will go again into my this first stitch here and I will take out my this needle. So this is my slip stitch and this is my first stitch. Here it is, just take this, attach this 2 together. I will go to this next stitch. I will take both the loops here again and I will go to the second stitch. So this stitch I've already worked on, so I will go to the second stitch, go to the second stitch here. Here it is, and attach your this 2 parts together. Here it is. Now after every 3 to 4 stitches, just have 1 extra stitch from your this back side. So here it is, this is my 3rd stitch. I am attaching this on my this 3rd stitch. Here it is. Now I will insert my needle again into my this 3rd stitch here on my this flap and I will go to this stitch number 4 on my this bag. So here I've already worked, this stitch is already taken. I will work on this next stitch and I will insert my this needle into my this 4th stitch, and I will do this because we have extra stitches on our this bag, so we have to manage our stitches here. So for that, after every 3 to 4 stitches, just make sure that you are adding up 1 extra stitch from your this bag until the end, and you will manage your stitches at the end as well. So it's going to be easier for you to manage your this stitches. So here it is. I'm going to go again into this next stitch here, and we'll go to this stitch. This is the next stitch. Here it is. So here I got another 1 stitch. That's going to be my another 2nd stitch. That's going to be my 3rd stitch. Here it is. Take both the sides, both the loops. And now I will again insert my needle into this same 3rd stitch on my this flap side. Here it is. Insert your needle again, and on this bag take the next stitch, not the same stitch, but take this next stitch, and that's how we will manage our stitches here. And now keep on repeating this pattern, this style, and keep on attaching this 2 parts together and manage your stitches, because we have more stitches here than these flap side. So just manage your stitches here, and I'm going to meet you here. And here it is. Our back flap is nicely attached here. So here it is. It looks like this. Here the attachment is done, and now hide where this end in, and here it is. It is all nicely attached. And now for our back strap, have your this yarn and leave a longer tail here. So I'm just going to leave a little longer tail because we're going to attach our this back strap with our this bag. So leave a longer tail here, and now have a slip knot. And now chain up 65 here, 6 5. So here it is. It's 1 2 3 4 5. So here it is. I got my this 65 chains, and now I will turn my work and I will start having my this herringbone stitch here. So for that, skip your this first chain, go to this chain. After that, insert your hook into the 2nd chain, grab yarn and have 1 single crochet, insert your hook into this 2nd strap of your this 1st single crochet, and go to this next chain, insert your hook, grab yarn and have 1 herringbone single crochet. And now keep on repeating this pattern all the way until the end of this chains, and you're gonna have your 64 herringbone stitches, and I'm gonna meet you after that. Here it is. I got my this first 64 stitches, and now for my round number 2, I will chain 1, will turn my work, and will insert my hook into my this first stitch, taking all 3 loops here, and will grab the yarn and will start making my this 2nd row of my this herringbone stitch. Here it is. And now keep on working until your row number 4. So here it is. We are working on row number 2 right now, and I will have another row number 3, where I will repeat my this row number 1, and for my row number 4 I will repeat my this row number 2. So here it is. Just go up to your row number 4, and each row will have 64 stitches, and I'm gonna meet you after that. And here it is. I finished my this row number 4 here, and my work looks like this. Here it is. And now here, after my this last stitch, 64th stitch, I'm gonna have a chain 1, and now I will cut my yarn and I will have a little longer tail here because we're gonna attach our this back strap with our work. So here it is. Just attach your this yarn, secure your yarn, and now we will start attaching our back strap to our this bag here. So here it is. I have attached my this back strap on this one side. Now remember, I'm attaching from the outside, and here it is. Now to attach, I'll just open up my flap. Remember to have your this back strap, this back side on this bottom, and your front side should be on the top. And now just attach your bag here at the side. Now here I have taken my idea of 6 stitches, so it's 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. So I'm working on this 6 stitches. It is just an idea so that your back strap will not move. Here it is. Just have your back strap here. Just gonna go into this space here, And remember, we are attaching on the outside of our this back strap. Now here I've got 4 rows, so it's 1 2 3 4. I've attached my back strap here, so I will again have a 4 rows here, and I will start attaching from here. So it's 1 2 3 and 4, and now I will have my back strap at this space, and I will count my stitches again. So it's 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. So this should be my top stitch. Here it is, it has to be here. And now start attaching your this back strap, and here I will simply attach it like this. So take out this needle from the back, again insert your needle somewhere here, and you will be here on your this next stitch. So this is your next stitch, so just have your needle here. Now again I will go to this next stitch and I will insert my needle somewhere here, and we'll take it out from the back. Here it is. Just keep in mind that your back strap should not be moving, and that's why have an idea of 6 stitches on both the sides. So here you can count 6 stitches, here you can count 6 stitches, and your 6th stitch should be on this top stitches. So here it is, so that you will have an idea that your work is not moving. Here it is, and now we will go all the way around. So we will go all of this round. So we will go up to here on our the 6th stitch, we will go on this side, then we will go down to this 6th stitch, and we will go on this side as well. So we will go all this 4 sides. So keep on attaching this 2 parts here like this, and I'm gonna meet you after that. Like this. And here it is, my bag is ready. Now I've attached my this button and my fasteners as well. Here it is, and it looks like this. You can simply close this one, and here it is. Now the back strap is completely optional. If you want to have a back strap, that's fine. If you don't want to have it, it's gonna look like this. So it's completely optional, and here it is. And I hope you have liked my today's tutorial. If you have liked, please like, share and comment on my videos, and please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you into the next video. Till then, bye.